So, one of my good friends, Jared, my partner in game design, has been playing Ninja Gaiden 4 a lot lately. He absolutely loves it. Meanwhile, I know absolutely nothing about it. Heck, I know nothing about this entire franchise. My entire knowledge of Ninja Gaiden comes from the footage my buddy has shown me, which you are seeing on screen now. So because he loves this series, and because I need something to review before I dive into Sonic Heroes, I figured, why not go all the way back to where this started? Most people are probably playing Ninja Gaiden 4 and don't realize that the franchise actually began on the NES. So I started digging into it a little bit and found that these games were huge back in the day. And it turns out they were one of the first console games ever to have a cinematic story. Yeah, forget Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation. Ninja Gaiden beat it to the punch by a whole decade. Now, it turns out this series actually started as an arcade game before the NES version came out. But I know nothing about the arcade version other than it's almost nothing like the NES version. So I'm going into this trilogy completely blind. No nostalgia, no prior knowledge, it's just me and my controller. So what are we waiting for? Let's dive into Ninja Gaiden 1. So you start up the game, wait at the title screen for a second, and boom, opening cutscene. Two ninjas sprint towards each other, clash swords, and one of them straight up dies. Not even a minute in, and someone's already been sliced in half. Great way to start an NES game. Turns out the guy who died was Ryu's father. Yes, his name is actually Ryu, like the Street Fighter guy, but with more wall jumping. Apparently, his dad went off to have a life or death duel for reasons the game doesn't fully explain yet. And before he left, he told Ryu to go to America and meet an archaeologist named Walter Smith. So Ryu's heading to the US to follow his father's wishes, and also maybe to get some revenge while he's at it. So we're off to a strong start story-wise. So we begin the game on the streets of America, and yes, everyone is trying to kill us. This is where the gameplay kicks in, and honestly, it's very Castlevania-like. You run left to right, you slash with your sword, you jump, classic action platformer stuff. But Ninja Gaiden adds a really cool mechanic. Wall climbing. You can't climb straight up walls, but if you jump onto one, Ryu sticks to it like a ninja Spider-Man. Then you can hop back and forth to scale vertical areas. It feels great once you get the rhythm down. You also get special weapons from slashing lanterns and lamps, such as throwing stars, fire wheels, and that kind of thing. You can use them by pressing up and attack. These consume Ryu's spiritual strength, which is basically ammo. You refuel it by grabbing blue and red orbs. Why do throwing stars use spiritual energy instead of, being physical objects you carry around? I don't know. NES logic, I guess. Anyway, you then get to the first boss, and he's an absolute pushover. Like, I beat him in seconds. He was an absolute joke. Then we get another cutscene. Ryu wonders why these people are following him, and a mysterious girl shows up and shoots him. And next thing you know, he wakes up in a prison cell. I thought she had killed him, but apparently they just used anesthesia. So, sure, why not? She then gives him a statue, tells him to get moving, and now we're doing a prison escape. I have no idea what the heck's going on, but the story's intriguing, I guess. So now we get to level 2. First, we escape the prison, which is honestly pretty easy. No complaints here. But then you step outside and, Oh boy! Someone at Tecmo just cranked up the difficulty dial straight to 11. Up to this point, the game has been pretty manageable. But then suddenly, it's like the designers said, "Fun's over, motherfucker! Time for you to suffer!" And the two biggest culprits? Horrible enemy placement and knockback. Do I even need to explain? Enemies constantly knock you into pits. I don't think I actually died once from losing my health. Every single death was from some random dude bumping me into a bottomless pit. And these enemies spawn right on the sides of the pits. Look, Tecmo knew exactly what they were doing. And I'll say this, the environment here looks awesome. Crumbling towers, mountains in the background. It's great. I like the level design. But the enemy placement? Absolute chaos! You die constantly. And then there's this nonsense where you're supposed to go down this hole. Fine. But if you jump down the hole, you die instantly. No, you have to climb the ladder down the hole. Why does it matter how in the heck I go down the hole? Like, why? Why does it matter? I go down there. Ugh. Then we reach the next boss. And this is where we have a real problem. The first boss did this too. But here it's way more obvious. Bosses have no hit stun. None. You can hit them, but they don't flinch. They don't react. They just keep attacking like nothing happened. The only way you know you're doing damage is the health bar that goes down. Meanwhile, you get knocked back, stunned, and punished for every mistake. Who designed this? Who turned the difficulty way up and why? Anyway, after surviving that nonsense, we finally meet Walter Smith. And here's the part that made me laugh. Ryu's father is named Ken. Do I even need to say anything? And no, this game came out before Street Fighter 2. Anyway, Walter explains that he and Ken found two statues in South America a long time ago. And they were tied to an ancient myth, and long story short, Big Demon Lord almost destroyed the world. A legendary warrior sealed his power into two statues and hid the demon's body somewhere. If he comes back to life, we're all screwed. And right on cue, a ninja steals one of the statues and runs off. So now we're chasing a ninja. So now we're chasing this ninja who stole the statue, and I'm assuming we're somewhere in the Rocky Mountains. And if you thought the game was gonna calm down after the prison escape, nope, wrong, completely wrong. And there is one major culprit behind the suffering of this section of the game. Take a wild guess what it is. It's the birds. It's these freaking birds! I hate these birds! For the love of everything good and holy! They are the bane of my existence when I'm playing this game! I cannot tell you how many times these things flung me into a bottomless pit or just hovered around draining half my health. Why are they such a pain? Let me explain. They swoop in at weird angles, so you have to time your attacks perfectly to hit them. They get right in your face, bounce back and forth, and smack you the moment you recover from hit stun. If you're not careful, they can shred half your health bar in seconds. I freaking hate these things. Now, credit where it's due, the graphics and backgrounds are awesome. The environments look great. But dear lord, the level design here is brutal. The first part isn't too bad. I beat it on my second try. Then you reach the snowy section, and that's where the game says, alright, time to ruin your afternoon. I spent 45 dadgum minutes on this part, just dying and dying and dying. Enemy placement is all over the place. Birds are everywhere. Oh, did I mention that enemies respawn? Yes, sometimes literally the moment after you kill them. You take one out, take a step back, and boom, another bird is spawned. Or another soldier. Or another whatever is spawned. It's utter chaos. Near the end of the level, you also have to make this jump. But you can't just go for it, you have to wait for this guy on the bottom to walk into position. But you're not going to know that the first time you do this level, so you're going to fall into the pit. Now, what you're supposed to do is, you're supposed to wait for this guy to walk in that way, hop over the mountain lion that tries to pounce you, and hope the bird doesn't hit you mid-jump. Kill the guy when you land, and pray you don't get knocked into the pit. And did I mention you have to do this almost perfectly, otherwise you fall into the pit and die. And you also have to do this entire, very difficult section of the level, and hope by the end you have enough health left to fight the boss. Why do you need enough health to fight the boss by the time you get to the end of the level? Great question, because if you die in the boss, you start the whole section over again. Now, the boss hits hard, but once you learn the pattern, he's actually not too hard. The real problem is learning that pattern, because like I said, you die in this boss and make a mistake, back to the start of the snowy mountain section with you. So after beating the boss and getting the demon statue back, Ryu suddenly gets this bad feeling and rushes back to Dr. Smith's place. And yeah, he's dying. Smith tells Ryu that the statue he just recovered is the light statue, one of the two relics he and Ryu's father kept separated to prevent the demon from being resurrected. The demon has now been sealed for 700 years, but now it's starting to wake up. Smith basically tells Ryu, "You're the Dragon Warrior now. Use the legendary sword and stop this bad stuff from happening." And then he dies. Before Ryu can even process any of that, a group of armed men show up and drag him away. Turns out, they're CIA. They drag him to meet this guy named Foster, and he explains that they're part of the Special Auxiliary Unit. So it's clear Mr. Foster here is not here to mess around. Foster explains that years ago, Dr. Smith discovered ancient ruins in the Amazon. He studied them, then suddenly sealed them off, and told everyone to stay away. Recently, a man calling himself the Jakui, I think I'm saying his name right, took over the ruins. According to the CIA, the place wasn't a temple for worship. It was a prison built to contain the demon's body. The statue Ryu has contains the demon's spirit. I thought me and Mr. Smith already went over all this. But okay. I guess the game assumed we forgot about the plot because of how pissed off we were at the last few levels. Anyway, the CIA believes that Jakui's organization killed Dr. Smith and is trying to resurrect the demon. If they succeed, well, apparently whoever resurrects the demon gets an absolute shit ton of power. I don't know what good that power would do anybody, since the demon's also supposed to destroy the world if it gets resurrected. But, hey, semantics. Who cares if the world's destroyed if you have Foster even quotes an ancient prophecy about a black moon and the return of the King of Darkness. Then comes a twist. The woman who shot Ryu in the bar in the beginning of the game, she was a CIA agent too. And it turns out they have been watching him from the start. Foster then tells Ryu to infiltrate Jakui's headquarters on behalf of the CIA and steal back the statue they have to prevent the big demon guy from resurrecting, and that he'll pay him if he doesn't. Ryu then asks what happens if he refuses, and Foster basically says, well, we're probably gonna fucking kill you. Well, he actually says, you know the answer, but let me translate that from CIA language to normal American citizen language. Do what we say, or we're gonna fucking murder you. Cut to a helicopter flying over the jungle, Ryu jumps out, and boom, Act 4 begins. So now we're running through a jungle. Did I suffer a few bullshit deaths? Yeah. Was it anywhere near as bad as the Snowy Mountain? Absolutely not. Compared to that nightmare, this jungle is a vacation. Then we reach the top of the jungle, and holy crap, this cutscene is awesome! Peak freaking cinema. 2 thumbs up there. Right after that, the music kicks in, the high gear, and suddenly you're sprinting through a mineshaft on your way to the castle. And honestly, this level is awesome. I don't care if it's kinda hard. I died like maybe once on it, but I don't care. This is freaking cool! Seriously, listen to this music. It fits this part of the game perfectly. Then you infiltrate the castle itself, and this music starts kicking in. Oh yeah, this is what I call atmosphere and good choices in music. And then these gargoyle frog things show up. This boss sucks. There are 2 of them hopping around, and at first it seems like it's gonna be manageable. The pattern isn't too unpredictable, but there is one very big problem. You can only damage one of them, the left one. The other one is completely invincible, but it can still hit you. And the worst part, they look exactly alike. You can't tell them apart. They look identical. And the left one and the right one, yeah, they start bouncing around like maniacs. So you can't tell where they're going, and you can't hardly keep track of them and avoid projectiles at the same time. Oh, by the way, did I mention the invincible one can still hurt you? Seriously, who designed this boss? Like, what was the intention behind this? Was this designed to fuck over players? Why was this needed? Anyway, after we beat the frog gargoyle things, Ryu finally comes face to face with the Jakui. And this guy wastes no time. He basically says, "Thanks for bringing me the statue. Hand it over." Ryu refuses, and Jakui responds by revealing he's holding a girl hostage. Who is this girl? Where'd she come from? Why does Ryu care about her? I have no idea. She tells Ryu not to give in, but Jakui forces him to put the statue down and back away. Ryu kneels, sets statue on the floor, and Jakui immediately pulls the most cartoon villain move possible. He says, "Nice work, have a nice day," and drops Ryu into a pit. Straight up trap door betrayal. Peak 80s villain energy. Then he orders his men to take the girl away to be sacrificed. He grabs the statue, declares that tonight is the night of rebirth. The once every 700 years demon resurrection is about to start. And then he starts laughing like he's auditioning for the role of Evil Wizard #1 in a fantasy movie. Yeah, things have escalated. So level 5 starts off in a cave section. You escape the cave and start climbing a mountain. Or at least I thought it was a mountain. But as you start climbing up, you see overgrown ruins with moss on them, and then it hit me. We're actually going to the ancient temple, where the demon is. Awesome! It's gonna be some ancient ruins levels. And everyone on this channel knows how much I love ancient ruins. After a little while, you actually get inside the ruins, and you're running through what looks like a crumbling stone pyramid corridors. Crumbling pillars, overgrown architecture. It's great stuff. Sure, the music doesn't exactly scream ancient temple. Visually, this level is fantastic. The gameplay, though, still hard as heck. At this point, I'll just be repeating myself. More birds, more knockback, you know the drill. Then you reach the boss, Malith. He shows up and introduces himself and immediately starts talking trash. With all that build-up, you'd think he'd be a pretty tough boss, but actually, he's pretty easy. Especially if you made it this far. As long as you have basic pattern recognition skills and know how to time your attacks, he goes down fast. But the twist comes after you beat him. Ryu confronts him about killing his father, and well, that was a twist I didn't see coming. So now we reach level 6, the final act. And this level is complete and utter bullshit. There are so many sections where the game demands pixel perfect jumps and pixel perfect timing with the attacks. And pixel perfect sanity. And the worst offenders, the jetpack ninjas. Yeah, I forgot to mention these guys in Act 5 because they weren't that bad. But in Act 6, oh boy. Imagine the birds, but faster, and they throw shurikens. And they can hit you from angles you didn't even know existed. These things can go straight to motherfucking hell. They are worse than the birds. And that's saying something. I spent over an hour crawling my way through Act 6, finally making it to the last boss room. And this is where the story goes absolutely wild. Ryu walks in, and Yakui congratulates him on making it this far. But then he drops the bomb. Ryu won't be fighting him yet, he'll be fighting the Masked Devil. And the twist is, the Masked Devil is actually Ryu's father. Yup, the duel from the opening cutscene? Ryu's father didn't die. Yakui captured him and turned him into a mind-controlled puppet. And now he wants father and son to fight to the death for his entertainment. Peak Saturday morning villain energy. Ryu tries to snap his father out of it, but Yakui says it's useless. He only thinks about killing now. Ryu realizes there is a way to save him. It's to break whatever's controlling him. He notices his father's eyes look empty, like a puppet. Then he spots the glowing orb controlling him. That's it. Ryu figures out the trick, and this leads to the first of the 3 final bosses. So, the first of the final bosses is actually Ryu's father under mind control, but don't panic. This is by far the easiest of the 3 final bosses. All you have to do is destroy the orb controlling him. Hit the orb a few times, it shatters, and boom, your dad is free. I beat this one almost immediately. Enjoy that feeling of victory, because the next 2 bosses is where Ninja Gaiden decides to kick you in the balls over and over and over again. So after you break the orb and free your father from mind control, Ryu actually gets to reunite with him. And it's actually a really sweet moment. Ken wakes up confused, realizes Ryu is standing there, and for about 5 seconds, everything feels okay. Chewie steps out of the shadows, does his evil wizard laugh, fires a blast straight at Ryu, and Ken jumps in front of it and takes the hit. So yeah, Ryu got his father back for a total of 30 seconds. And Yakui immediately kills him again. This man is committed to being the worst. Ken collapses in Ryu's arms and tells him to finish this. And Ryu finally snaps. He turns around, jumps forward, and delivers the most dramatic line in the entire game. Your day has come, Yakui. So now, you have to fight Yakui himself. And this guy is a nightmare. He flies around the room, he throws fireballs, it's chaos. The only strategy I found that works, even a little, is to cling to the right wall, wait for him to drift over, jump across, hit him once or twice, dodge whatever nonsense he throws at you, and run back to the wall. It's not perfect, but it's the best I've got. And then I died. And this is where Ninja Gaiden pulls the biggest middle finger in video game history I've ever seen. I had lives left, okay? I should have respawned at the boss door. Or at the very least, the area before the boss door. Every other level does that, but no. If you die on any of the 3 final bosses, the game sends you all the way back to the start of level 6. Like, what do you mean there's no checkpoint? What do you mean I have to redo the entire level? This is bullshit!
It's just a game. It's just a game. It's just a game.
Okay, I'm back, and through sheer unbreakable, undomitable will, I finally beat Yakui. It took a few tries, but I did it. And thankfully, even though the game sends you all the way back to the start of level 6, you don't have to redo the earlier bosses. Small mercy, I guess. Now, I did do some digging online, and while I couldn't find a fully verifiable source, it looks like the whole no checkpoint thing before the final bosses might actually be a programming mistake. Apparently, the game was supposed to restart you at a checkpoint, but due to a bug, it kicks you all the way back to the beginning of Act 6. And nobody ever thought to fix it. Whether this is true or not, I don't know, but I still hate this part of the game with a burning passion. Now, after you beat Jakui, you get one of the most iconic scenes in the game. Ryu reunites with his father, for real this time. Ken tells Ryu they need to throw the demon statue out of the temple before the black moon rises. And then the girl, bless her heart, looks up at the sky and asks, "Ryu, what's that?" Ryu takes a look and realizes too late what's happening. The eclipse completes, the ground shakes, and now we have to fight one more boss because of Ryu's hesitation. Fantastic! This boss sucks. It looks like a giant demon bug, and for some reason, it shoots what I can only describe as shrimp out of its back. And these things do a ton of damage. They fly everywhere. You have to destroy the demon's head, tail, and heart while dodging shrimp like you're at some kind of cursed seafood buffet. Eventually, I figure out some kind of pattern. But this fight took hours. Hours! When I finally killed it. But when I finally did, it felt like I conquered a mountain. After we kill the demon, Ryu rushes to his father, and Ken tells him they don't have much time left, and that the temple is collapsing. Because, per NES rules, if the final boss takes place in a castle, that castle has to be destroyed. He tells Ryu to take the girl and escape. Ryu refuses, but Ken insists that his destiny is tied to the demon statue. And then he dies. For real this time. The temple collapses and Ryu and the girl watch from a distance. It's a genuinely emotional moment. Until the CIA call. The girl gets a call from Foster, the CIA guy from earlier. He tells her that the mission is complete. Then he orders her to kill Ryu and steal the demon statues. Ryu overhears everything, and Foster makes a very poor attempt at trying to talk his way out of it, but Ryu shuts him down with the coldest line in the game. "I got two kinds of payment. The first I have already received. The second is you, Foster." The transmission cuts, and Ryu, by the looks of it, throws her phone off the cliff into the jungle. And then Ryu and the girl stand together in silence. Then the girl asks what the first payment was, and Ryu says, "She's right in front of me." Whoa, whoa, whoa! Hold the phone! Hold up! She's your payment? Who wrote this line? Try walking up to a random girl in real life and saying, "Hey, you're my payment," and see how fast that gets you slapped. And how are they suddenly in love? For one, he doesn't even know her name. Two, they've met 3 times. The first time, she shot him. The second time, she was a hostage. And the third time, he rescued her. That's not romance. That's trauma bonding. But the game doesn't care. She smiles, they kiss, and the sun rises. Ryu says the darkness is finally over, and the credits roll. So, what did I think of Ninja Gaiden? Let's start with the positives. The story, for all its flaws, is honestly pretty cool for an NES game. The cinematic cutscenes were groundbreaking for the hardware. And the whole story as a whole feels way ahead of its time. Keep in mind that most games at this time had all their story relegated to the manual. So how is everything else in the game? Well, after level 1, this game just sucks. I actually consider it worse than Ghosts and Goblins. Here's why. With Ghosts and Goblins, you know exactly what you're getting into. The game basically tells you up front, hey, this is gonna hurt. Ninja Gaiden, on the other hand, pretends it's gonna be fair. It gives you a health bar, cool movement options, and flashy cutscenes, and decent weapons. And it looks like a fun action platformer. But in reality, it's a torture device disguised as a video game! I wanted to love this game. My buddy Jared loves the Ninja Gaiden series, and I thought I would surprise him with a review of the NES trilogy. I thought it would be fun. But now I am dreading playing the next 2 games. If they're anything like this one, I'm in for a whole world of pain. Honestly, I cannot recommend anyone play Ninja Gaiden unless you actively enjoy suffering, or if you just really want a challenge. And if you really want to experience this game's story, just watch the cutscenes on YouTube. That's the best way to experience it without losing your sanity. So yeah, that's Ninja Gaiden. If you grew up with this game and actually beat it as a kid, leave a comment down below. I will be shocked. I beat some hard games growing up, but this might be the hardest game I ever played in my entire life. And I played a lot of video games. Now, before I dive into Ninja Gaiden 2, I need to remind myself that video games can be fun. So links to my Discord are in the description. My studio's game, Nova Rebellion, is out now on Steam and itch, and yada yada yada, you all know the drill. This is the Anti-Gamer Slayer, signing off! Now, excuse me while I play a game that's actually fun.
Yes, because one can never have too many ways to play Sonic 2.